What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Time to continue on with the Band-Maid documentary, and we're gonna go ahead and jump in with AKANE. As a drummer myself, this should be pretty awesome.
What the hell is this? Ooh, that was way too loud. Sorry about that. All right, who is the next one? Let's see here. Oh, but she was the one. Wait, she's also a DJ? Really?
Oh.
Okay then, let's talk about AKANE.
DJ AKANE, DJ Tiny Hat.
AKANE was born on December 14th in Hyogo, a prefecture very close to Osaka. She lived with her mother, her stepfather, and for a short period of time, with her stepbrother, who is 11 years older. During her youngest years, AKANE was very unsociable and the one to do whatever she wanted, like leaving kindergarten to go home or not participating in games and activities with the other kids. She was, as she likes to say while laughing, a real problem child. Note that in Japan, children go to school and come back home on their own very early, sometimes at 3 or 4.
Very safe country.
Over the years, she became more and more friendly and discovered that talking to other people wasn't that bad after all. During her school years, she loved home economics and art, but hated studying. She was also bad at physical activities. Who would have thought? Being a huge fan of manga, AKANE was easily influenced by the Prince of Tennis or Slam Dunk to try different sports, but soon realized that her motivation was gone pretty quickly. She's the kind of person who wants to try everything that could interest her, but nothing lasted very long.
Nothing wrong with that.
Except one thing. And this is something that we've seen in Saiki and Konami's childhood. AKANE has loved music since she was very little. For her, it started with piano in kindergarten and lasted a few years before she stopped because the joy wasn't there anymore.
Piano is always a good bass to
Although,
have.
she can still play some songs on the piano, even today.
I want to hear some more keyboard slash piano and some more Band-Maid songs.
She continued for 5 years with trombone, but it wasn't something she saw herself pursuing. At the end of her trombonist career, she realized that a lot of her friends joined bands.
He's a
So she went to
tromboner,
a lot
huh?
of live performances and music festivals with them. That's how the idea of being in a band started to grow in AKANE's head. So she joined the AKANE Club to form a band. To get an idea of what it was like, you can watch the anime AKANE. AKANE started with the guitar,
Nice.
but soon realized that her hands were too small to play, and it was impossible for her to continue. The bass was off the table too, as you can imagine, and she's no singer, at least according to her, so what's left? Yes, drums. And once AKANE tried a drum kit, she felt that that was it.
I wonder how old she was when she first started playing drums, because it makes it sound like she kind of started late. Maybe they'll let us know, but it's definitely to get that sort of independence of your limbs. It takes quite a bit of practice too. I mean, the earlier the better, but it sounds like she kind of was late in the game starting, so maybe we'll see.
While learning drums, she started to listen to rock bands like El Garden and Bump of Chicken to end up making covers of their songs. She also learned about the band Maximum the Hormone and their
We've listened to some of them.
drummer, Now. AKANE was stunned to discover that the drummer of this hard rockin' band was not a man. this was the kind of drummer she wanted to become, so she kept this picture of a strong female drummer in her mind as a role model. It was, and still is, important to AKANE to have an impact on anyone who thinks that a female drummer can only play soft and not hard. With this image in mind, she practiced every week at her school, the only place that had a drum kit available, as she didn't own one.
Even if you had one at home, a lot of noise ordinances and all kinds of stuff, and you could probably play during the day, but it's tough being a drummer and trying to practice, you know. For me personally, at least, I get all my energy at night for some reason. As soon as like 11 o'clock at night rolls around, I all of a sudden have all this energy to play drums, but it's too late. Even on an electric kit, it still can be pretty loud. So, the woes of being a drummer.
Drummer can only play soft and not hard. With this image in mind, she practiced every week at her school, the only place that had a drum kit available, as she didn't own one. The other problem was that she was alone in her club, so she could only practice by herself. By the end of her second year,
That's all right, though.
she wanted to do a graduation live performance, so she gathered some of her friends from her old symphonic band days and performed a copy of the group Pez, a Japanese instrumental band consisting of a trumpet, a saxophone, a double bass,
I'll have to check
a
them out.
keyboard vocalist, and of course,
I love me some
drums.
brass
You
instruments.
might be surprised to learn that AKANE wanted to work as a hairdresser after graduation. But as she started drums and was 100% committed to improve her playing skills, she completely changed her mind and instead wanted to enroll in a music school.
Nice.
Against the will of her teacher, but with the support of her parents, AKANE went to the Tokyo School of Music for 2 years.
That's kind of odd. Against the will of her teacher, but with the support of her parents. I'd say in most cases, it's the opposite, you know, where the teachers are pushing you, but the parents are like, no, no, no. That's interesting.
To follow her passion. She was surrounded by talented musicians who wanted to become professional. Even though she was just a beginner in her class, she worked very hard and played every day to catch up with the other students. It was during those years that she joined a band who did a combined live show with another band featuring the one and only Konami. She immediately
Yay.
acknowledged how good Konami was with the guitar and wanted to know more about her. It turned out that they lived very close from each other, so they quickly became friends. Konami used to ask AKANE to play drums on her demos before sending them to record companies. Unfortunately, AKANE's band didn't stay together very long, and she was back to square one. But AKANE was resourceful, so she started a part-time job as a waitress in a music restaurant in Yokohama. She could watch live performances and sometimes have a sit behind the kit to play when the restaurant closed for the day. She told the manager that she plays drums, so he asked if she could play right now. And she did. AKANE played Highway Star from Deep Purple, and the manager agreed to let her play.
Nice.
He even offered to train her.
Even better.
From that moment, AKANE trained every day to improve her skills and become a better drummer.
It's always
We
nice
are
to
now
have
in
those. It's always nice to have those like solid mentors that can just, you know, give you kind of like the fast track.
Skills and become a better drummer. We are now in 2013, and Band-Maid is actively looking for 3 female musicians to join a rock band while wearing maid outfits. I say 3 because at this time, they weren't searching for a lead vocalist yet. Our Little Pigeon already recruited Konami, so the band was looking for a drummer and a bassist. As you can imagine, Konami talked to AKANE about this opportunity. She trusted her with her demos, so why shouldn't she? At first, Konami mentioned the label and AKANE was excited, until Konami revealed that they are recruiting for an all-girls band. In case you wonder, she hadn't even mentioned the part where they would all have to be dressed in maid outfits. AKANE had too many bad experiences from all-girl bands, so she wasn't really
I'm gonna guess that she probably didn't have as much of a problem with the maid outfits as some of the other ones, but we'll see.
Thrilled about this idea. But the restaurant she was working at was about to close for good, so she took some time to think about it and finally decided to join Konami. What about the maid outfit, you would ask?
I did.
Well, she was reluctant at first, but how do you know that it's bad without even trying? After all,
Fair enough.
if Konami is already there, it'll be okay, right? So she was willing to give it a try anyway. Konami sent her some demos, and AKANE found the music really cool right away. And the image of an all-girls band dressed like maids playing this kind of music was really interesting for her. She felt that her reluctance against all-girl bands and maid outfits was fading away as her motivation kept growing.
That's really good though, because I imagine if she felt that way about all girl bands, like, oh, no one's gonna take us seriously, yada yada. The amount of other people that probably also felt that way, I would imagine, would be a decent amount. And so by going kind of against that, in a sense, like just doing it, but kind of turning the public's image of what a girl band is capable of, or whatever that may be, they're definitely opening up the eyes of a lot of other girls that might be discouraged by that same idea. And they're like, well, you got Band-Maid out there and they're badass and they're all girls. So, all girl bands don't have to just be cute and gimmicky. It's just good, flipping the script a little bit.
Just a few months later, a 5-members acoustic band was created under the name Mochi to Cheese.
Mochi to
What's
cheese.
the link with AKANE, you could ask? Well, AKANE and Konami were both part of this side band with 3 members from the band Predia, an idol group formed in 2010 under the same agency as Band-Maid, Platinum Passport. They started to perform in the streets with acoustic covers and even performed live a few times over the 2 years of activity. The band also covered Forward, a song from Band-Maid.
Hey.
A single was released in September 2015, but only 2 months later, they sent their last tweet and posted their last entry in their blog.
It's okay.
After that, we did not hear from Mochi to Cheese again. Their YouTube channel is still available, so you can at least watch a fraction of their performances.
Mochi to cheese. That was an aggressive chime hit, I'll say. I remember getting like completely grilled by my band teacher because I went too hard on the chimes. They're kind of a delicate instrument. I imagine there are very rare moments where you want to kind of give it some oomph, but for the most part, you kind of want to be like quite gentle with the chimes. But maybe she's just experimenting. I'm not going to hold it against her, but it just gave me flashbacks of getting yelled at by my band teacher. Of course, it was like a brand new set of chimes too. There we go. Beautiful. It's really hard to, like, especially for like a vocalist, because you're going to start off only being able to sing live, and it's freaking seems to be really hard to make vocals, to get like live vocals sounding great.
Let's get back to Band-Maid. With all those years of practice, AKANE had a solid base of drumming to bring to the band, but she didn't have a lot of practice with the twin pedals on high-paced songs.
Been there.
She did buy one when she was in high school, but she gave up pretty quickly, only to come back on it later and work as much as she could to try.
I think I didn't start using double bass pedals until after high school, because most of my playing is going to be, we did like marching band. Then I did some jazz band and other concert band stuff. But yeah, double bass pedal was kind of like a little, the way the classic music world looked at like double bass was a little vulgar, I guess, or unnecessary. But they're like, whatever, if you can't play it with one pedal, don't play it, basically. It was kind of this old school look at double bass. And so you know, I was playing different kinds of music that didn't really need double bass anyway, so it wasn't until very late that I really started getting into like some crazy heavy metal, fast paced, you know, insane beats per minute tempos, and then yeah, so I still kind of like that's my weak point for me drumming
But
is
she
double
gave up
bass.
pretty
But hey,
quickly,
I'm
only
working
to
on it.
come back on it later and work as much as she could to try and master it. With Band-Maid, AKANE had to use twin pedals for the first time with Thrill. A painful first experience for her.
Oh, I
But the
bet.
feedback was incredible, so the band members wanted to add more twin pedals in the next songs over
Those
the
shins
years.
are gonna be tired.
This is something that AKANE wanted to do as well. But remember that from 2016, the songs are written by Konami. And Konami loves fast-paced rhythm.
速いのは一番速い BPM。
I think it's 225.
Jesus,
おう
惜しい
ちには225ないね。
ね、200
じゃあ
that's like
次
do 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 do
225を
do
目
do
指しま
do
す。
do do.
Usually, Konami songs are based at about 170 beats per minute. But AKANE struggled to play the twin pedals over 130 beats per minute because of her lack of solid practice on twin pedaling. But she wouldn't be defeated that easily. Band-Maid is a hard rock band. They needed to be hard on their music, and AKANE had to be able to play faster.
Well, she really stepped up.
So what do you think she did? She
Practiced.
thought about how she moves her legs and found ways to improve her movements to be able to play faster. And what's the best way to do it? Practice, practice, practice.
Yep.
Muscle memory.
My band director used to say, what did he say? Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And I'm still kind of like, what? This means kind of give it your all during practice, I think is what he meant.
AKANE
But
tried to move her legs every time and everywhere she could as if she was playing the twin pedals, so her legs remembered those movements.
nice.
She was also pushed by Konami, who kept including a lot of twin pedals in her songs. A challenge that AKANE couldn't refuse to face, as she is not the type to admit that she can't keep up with a song. After a lot of work and thinking about her play,
Once you, sorry to keep pausing, I know it's getting annoying, but once you're able to subdivide it in your head, like figuring out the spaces in between the notes in your head, that's like 85% of the difficulty as far as like playing fast or playing at all. And then the other 15% is just training your muscles. Once you have it in your head, that's the hardest part to acquire, I would say. It's not easy to get the muscles up there, but just start slow and, you know, play about as fast as you can without messing up. Keep that speed and then just gradually increase it, increase it, increase it. You don't want to play like fast to the point where you can't even get all the notes out. You want to slow down the tempo to the point where you can get all the notes out and then just keep gradually increasing that. Pretty obvious, but
style. AKANE is now
just
able
rambling
to use
over here
twin
now.
pedals anytime, in any song.
nice.
Did you know that Band-Maid performed with a man once? No? Do you want to know more
I feel like
about
I
this
did,
story?
but I don't remember.
Of course you do. It was in 2015, on December 4th to be exact, at the Shinjuku club Science, that AKANE was replaced by a male drummer for a performance. Why, you might ask?
Oh, just like a fill-in?
AKANE mentioned in an interview
That's
around
all
that
right.
time that she just had an injury and she needed time to rest and heal. Don't worry, it wasn't a life or death situation, as AKANE
Well,
came to this
clearly.
performance disguised as a staff member to support her band.
I wonder what her injury was.
She tweeted 2 months later with a photo of her holding a lot of drumsticks with messages written from fans from all over the world.
That's pretty cool.
Band-Maid has the best community of fans. Am I right? Now, I'm sure
I'd agree.
that many of you maniacs know that AKANE likes to eat. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
She can eat 120
The noodles
bowls of
girl.
soba when on average, a man eats 70 bowls and a woman 50. Or even 30 plates at a kaiten sushi, a restaurant where plates of sushi are placed on a conveyor belt that winds through the restaurant and moves past every table, counter, and seat. And believe me when
It's always
I
like
tell
the
you
skinniest
that
people that
30
can eat the most
is a lot.
somehow.
She loves eating food so much that you can see her eating in a lot of the music videos over the years. I'll bet she really enjoyed filming those. AKANE was invited for a few episodes
It's like purposely messing up the takes so you can redo the take over and over again.
of Band-Maid Nippon, and they played a game where Miku and Saiki had to guess her favorite food outside of Japan.
ご飯
ご飯
何米ってこと？
ご飯
米？
ピザ
どういうこと？
主食っていうのかな
メインのもの。
メインの
こってりじゃないでしょきっと。
こってりじゃないね
パエリア。
パエリアです
パエリア。
勘で言ったら当たったし。
あ、どうなの
At the creation of
I don't know if I've
Band-Maid,
ever had paella.
AKANE was designated as the leader as she appeared to be the most responsible. But now, every member has a different role equally important, and having a leader was just not relevant anymore. AKANE is also famously known for goofing around every chance she gets.
What the heck? She can sing? Wait. Like, she sounds like Psyche a little bit. Okay. That's Psyche. I knew it. I knew it.
Even during live
He almost had me,
performances.
though. He almost had
And
me.
she's not the only one.
I was like, what the?
As the other band members try to make her laugh by pulling faces. Sometimes it gives us some very special moments to watch.
They're just tormenting her.
And
Jesus.
sometimes it just works too well.
That's the best when they're all just killing it and
Band-Maid
having
is
fun at
really
the same
putting on a
time.
show when it comes to live performances.
Very contagious.
Because these 5 hard rockin' maids are really enjoying themselves, don't you think? All right, it's time to talk about AKANE's drum style. But let's keep it simple, shall we? And as I didn't become a musician since our last video on Konami, I will let today's special guests talk to you about this very interesting subject. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to hear what they have to say about AKANE. Let's go.
All right, hold on. Let me back it up a little bit. Be right back. All right, we're back. Had some food on the stove. Had to make sure it wasn't going crazy.
But I can't wait to hear what they have to say about AKANE.
All right.
Let's go.
Words from the
Band-Maid is a group
community.
of individuals that are just such heavy hitters on their instruments. When they come together, the overall sound of the ensemble is amazing. The rhythms, the harmonies, the quality of the vocals, the songwriting, the skill sets of how everything is woven together is a very amazing listening experience. I've only seen the videos, but from moment one, it had me hooked. Now, AKANE's drumming is when you see someone that is so fluid and relaxed and they're playing at such a high velocity and the demand is so great, the level of respect is top. It is top for me. So she has a way of laying back in the groove and just flowing so well, but a lot of the times these tempos are burning, like they're going fast, but she has this thing where it's like effortless mastery. She lays back. There's all these augmentations and interactions within the orchestration of the song.
That's what I love too. Is like she's always seems very joyful when she's playing. So just fun to watch and like playing something extremely difficult, but also, you know, not making like a weird, struggling, concentrated face. It doesn't matter whether you do or not, but it is good to see like her just being joyful and, like he says, kind of in that pocket.
With everybody else, like there's always these complicated things happening, but when you watch her play, the legato, like it's smooth. It's like you don't really notice how difficult everything is. And for me, that's the major selling point, because anytime something seems like smooth and easy. It's not. It's because the person is so good.
Yeah.
They've put in so many thousands of hours on their instrument, and their ability to have all that ensemble listening go on allows them to be that effortless mastery that I just brought up. I will never get tired of watching AKANE play. I mean, to be just completely honest, it's inspirational, and it just makes me want to be a better musician.
AKANE is a very impressive musician. For many reasons, one of them is her constant evolving. It's almost a rule among musicians to get to a certain level and then stop because that's good enough. But there's no such thing as good enough for AKANE. She's constantly getting better, not only in her skills as a player, but also as a writer. There's not a single dull moment in her writing. There's always something different and interesting and creative happening. Her creativity has no limits. She almost never repeats herself.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, she does repeat herself. Obviously, there's like a core repetition, but she adds so much on top of it that it's like, you know, you can't just sit there. It's not overly repetitive. She changes enough of kind of like either the fills or just kind of flipping phrases or whatever. I love that he noticed.
Different from the first, but you can still tell it's the same thing. It represents the same thing. That's very impressive writing. AKANE is a drummer's drummer, but she's also everybody's drummer. What I mean by that is, to someone who's not familiar with the drums, she sounds very impressive. She is, but it's not impenetrable. It's not tedious.
Yeah, this guy's making a lot of good points. A lot of the drummers, they play music that may not be may not be like fun to like jam out to like regular folks or whatever. You know, it's fun from like a technical standpoint, but often not like necessarily the easiest to kind of just bob your head to, you know. But she does both very well, kind of towing that line of complexity, but like he says, not being impenetrable, meaning it's very accessible to most people that aren't musicians. And so there's definitely something to be said about that. I like his
she's always serving,
pointing out
music.
specifics and stuff.
But when you do know what she's doing, your mind goes blank for a second, because she can write these incredibly intricate parts that are also beautiful. Recent example of that is in Influencer, the transition that goes from first chorus to the second verse, and that whole part afterwards with the cross sticks and everything. I think they call it the A melody. There's so much happening.
I'll have to check that out.
It's so fast. It's so different. And not different from the first verse, different from everything I ever heard from her. There's more music in those, 15 seconds than in 99.99% of all music ever recorded. And you can still dance to it. Then you see her playing live. Doesn't even look like she's doing anything that hard. She doesn't call attention to herself. She just smiles and plays the impossible. It's very, very, very hard, with so little effort. She's so fast. She's so precise. But she's also expressive. There's feeling in her playing. And that's what music is, or should be, is taking your instrument and amplifying your emotions to touch people.
And she plays like every member in the band. She plays what is appropriate and necessary for the song. She doesn't overplay in like an almost a lot of times like an egotistical way, like a kind of like, you know, just everyone look at me. I'm gonna be the star of the show, but lock into your little pocket, you know, do that job you have very well, and some of the parts will be greater than the whole, or the whole will be greater than the sum of the parts. That's it.
People's hearts. AKANE does that. She hits very hard with incredible speed and precision, but she's also putting herself, her feelings into her music. She's joy, she's happiness, fun to be around. She jokes around, she says random things. And her playing is also like that. Her drumming, her music is joyous, is happy, is pleasurable and surprising, and connects the songs. And she's constantly getting better at it. And that's very impressive.
Where do I even begin with AKANE? Oh, I've tried covering her drums so many times. Never really got them right because they're so complex. She's definitely the hardest.
I just checked out the sort of Band-Maid community cover of Onset. I thought that was really good, man. You know, getting like all the different camera angles. I wish that's something that AKANE would do a little bit more of, because sometimes that's like the only way you can fully tell what she's playing, because there's a lot going on. Like, I remember trying to do some, like, just try to play like small segments of some of her more complicated drum parts, and find myself just like listening to the part over and over again, like maybe gaining one note each pass. But hey, it's, you know, that's what it takes when you're trying to play something that challenging.
Hardest drummer I've ever tried to cover. The skills required alone are insane, but it's not only the skill, it also requires an insane amount of memory skills because she's constantly changing up her drum patterns, keeping things fresh. It never gets stagnant, but it's so hard to remember all the different little changes she makes. And somehow she's still able to smile through all of it while she's playing. She plays with so much power, so much energy, and perfectly complements all the other instruments around her. You can tell from what she's playing that she listens to her fellow bandmates and does what she can to accentuate their parts instead of just playing underneath them or playing over them. She gives the song exactly what it needs. Such a well-rounded drummer. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Once again, I've been telling you the story of someone who has been in love with music since forever and tried many instruments until she found the one that was perfect for her: drums. Even though she was alone in her club during high school, without a drum kit to practice on at home, AKANE did her best to learn the basics by herself and was able to join a music school and pursue her goal of becoming a professional musician. From a child who wanted to try everything but couldn't find the motivation to keep at it, to a truly passionate musician, AKANE kept doing her best to live for and from music. Working at a music restaurant to end up playing drums there, joining Band-Maid with Konami and within this already incredible band, learning and evolving towards this image of a strong hard rock female drummer she always wanted to be associated with. AKANE wanted to prove that gender has nothing to do with her drumming and how hard Band-Maid's music is, and we can all agree that she does this every time she hits her drums. No matter how difficult it was, no matter how many obstacles she faced, AKANE destroyed everything in her way so she could achieve what makes her special as a person and a drummer.
Nicely done. I love this one, man. I love them all, of course, but being a drummer, this one just kind of has me kind of reflecting on my music career, and it's very inspirational. It makes me want to try harder and get better, play more, you know? Very nice. Great job on the documentary. Wow. That was my favorite one so far, and yeah, obvious reasons, but next one's going to be Misa. I wish they talked a little bit more about AKANE's tiny hat, but maybe some of you guys in the comments can fill me in. Tiny hatto. I'm sure you guys know like where that came from. What's the story behind the hat? You know, did it was it a part of her like unique take on the maid outfits, or maybe there's a little bit more of a story behind it, but maybe you guys did tell me already, but I forgot. Sorry. But yeah, freaking great, man. And I wonder what age she was when she really started playing on her first kit. Because yeah, that's most people put them on a drum set, and even the most basic beat is pretty difficult to play. You know, your hands are doing one thing, one hand's doing one thing, one hand's doing another thing, and your feet are doing different things too. That's a lot harder than you would think. You know, it takes time to develop the independence of your limbs. And so made it sound like she kind of started relatively late. She started like 2013 at least is when she started using double bass. So maybe like 2010, 2009 or 8 is when she started playing drums. And if she was born in like the mid 90s, yeah, I mean, that's not super early, but like relatively, you know, still young, which is good. So, I mean, clearly, you know, you don't need to be doing it since you're like 3 years old to be good. You just got to put in the time. You can definitely make up for, you know, having started a little bit later than others. And maybe sometimes starting later is better. You kind of bring different flavors to the whatever, to the soup, if you will. But no, anyway, I'm rambling at this point. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. And if you want to see other reactions, especially Band-Maid. I have tons of playlists. I've reacted to every Band-Maid song that I have found so far. There's probably a couple more out there I still need to get to, but yeah, if you want to go down a little rabbit hole, check it out. You can start from Made in Japan and go all the way through the albums if you want. It's quite the journey, just to kind of see how they evolve over time. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time with Misa's documentary. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.